I'll call this meeting to order at 6:48. Can I have roll call, please?
Ms. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Bryan?
Here.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Here.
Mr. Frias? Mr. Cohn?
Here.
Mr. Sim? President Langley?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to move into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, we'll be back at 7:30. All right, it is 7:34. We'll come back into session. Everybody rise to the flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reading the mission statement. Mr. Cohen, would you read the mission statement, please?
The River Edge School District is a partnership of students, parents, staff, and community members. We are dedicated to providing a supportive environment in which all students can reach their maximum academic potential while developing as responsible citizens who respect individuality. Our goals will be achieved because curriculum and instruction are aligned with New Jersey student learning standards. All decisions reflect the academic, social, emotional, and physical needs of pre-K to 6th grade students. Cooperation and ongoing communication exists between the school district and the community. School administrators and the Board of Education work together to assess and adjust procedures in response to new mandates and the changing needs of the community.
Thank you. Open public meetings notice?
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting, its date, time, and place have been delivered to the post office, municipal building, and posted on the district's website at least 48 hours prior to the time of this meeting.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the first special item on the agenda, and that is the tentative 26-27 budget presentation. Your slides.
Can we, like, maximize it, or that's it? Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah. All right, so I would like to thank everyone, welcome everyone to the presentation of the 26-27 tentative budget for the River Edge Public Schools. On behalf of Dr. Bernice and myself, we want to recognize and thank everyone who contributed to this tentative budget. This was a massive team effort involving all our board members, specifically the Finance and Facilities Committee members, and our leadership, our entire leadership team, from the building principals, Mrs. Heitman and Mr. Grimshaw, to our Special Service Director, Mr. Jaffe, Director of Curriculum, Ms. Moran, who's in attendance tonight, Buildings and Grounds Supervisor, Mr. Gomez, Supervisor of Innovation Assessment and Special Project, Mrs. Geller, as well as all of our staff, from our teachers to our administrators' assistants. This is truly a collaborative and extensive process. The budget process started as early as the end of October. So the first part is the school budget is more than just numbers. It is a district action plan that balances legal compliance and operational support with our strategic alignment and accountability to our taxpayers. And for the board, it's also on our agenda as well as printed to follow on. Next, the mission statement. The mission statement is a critical component that drives the direction of our district's budget, which is also recited for every board meeting. Another critical component that drives the district's budget is the strategic plan. The strategic plan is a 5-year plan that consists of 5 goals. All 5 goals have a financial impact to the budget, with some goals more heavily weighted to the financial component, such as goal number 5. Now I'll turn it over to Ms. Moran, who will take us through the academic successes our district has achieved, showcasing the real-world impact of the funding we are discussing today.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you tonight to share some educational highlights. And I first want to begin by highlighting the classroom experience of our River Edge students. And that has been enhanced by several different things, one of which is the implementation of Amplify Math. I have the opportunity to visit classrooms across our schools daily, and students are engaging in math talk in which they share what they notice and what they wonder. They are engaged in problem solving, whether it be independently, in pairs, or in small groups. They are also exploring various math concepts in different forms, whether that be measuring objects with base 10 blocks, or even on their Chromebooks where they digitally create quadrilaterals with at least 2 square corners. Our students this year have shown significant growth in math. For example, second grade students, and second grade is where we're using Amplify Math for the first time. Second grade students averaged a 19-point increase from Form A to Form B on the Linkit benchmark assessment. While fourth grade students, who fourth grade is in their second year of implementation, they averaged a 14-point increase, which is still something to celebrate. The content is more challenging in fourth grade. So their progress reflects meaningful impact with Amplify Math, and we are happy to celebrate this student achievement. Dr. Bernice actually shared individual letters of congratulations with each staff member regarding the student achievement. Another factor that has enhanced the classroom experience for our students is a focus on early literacy skills. In our primary grade classrooms, teachers and students are using targeted resources such as decodable texts, sound cards, magnetic letter boards, and these targeted resources are being used to strengthen the foundational skills which students will need that to connect with increasingly complex text as they progress through the grade levels, especially in the different content areas, whether it's math, reading, science, or social studies. And the addition of these targeted resources has also led to significant growth among our students. For example, our third grade students averaged a 17-point increase from Form A to Form B, which is incredible for our third graders. So we also want to celebrate that success. And again, Dr. Bernice did share letters of congratulations with the staff for that achievement. And lastly, professional learning has also enhanced this classroom experience for our students. We have had professional learning throughout this school year focused on both ELA and math. And this professional learning included model lessons in which presenters, both internally and externally, came into our River Edge classrooms where the staff actually got to watch model lessons take place just last week. In a kindergarten classroom, a presenter came, sat on the carpet with a small group of students, and teachers were there watching the presenter implement strategies to help support early literacy in the grades. So that professional learning has enhanced the student experience, and we're continuing that professional learning throughout this year and into next school year. Okay, some more educational highlights. I want to talk about the things that support the core experience of our River Edge students. I believe that Dr. Bernice has previously shared this, but Nora Peck and Sharon Rosario, who are the Bergen County educational specialists who work for the New Jersey Department of Education, they always share that River Edge is a model school district for having a strong multi-tiered system of supports through our Win What I Need program. And this is a program that values the traditional Tier 2 interventions for our students. We're extremely proud of the support that we are able to provide the students in our schools. And I personally have had the opportunity to present at various forums about our WIN program, and I've also been contacted by districts in and out of the Bergen County area to share our success with our WIN program. Just this past summer, I met virtually with a team of administrators from the Millburn, New Jersey school district, and I was able to share about our program as they were looking to implement a similar program in their school district. Also, a strong focus on hands-on STEAM explorations and family involvement supports our students' success. And we attribute this to the strong performance that our students make on the NJSLA Science each year. All of our River Edge students are able to participate in STEAM opportunities, and this involves critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and problem solving. Just the other day, I was in one of our STEAM labs. A primary grade was in there. Some students were sitting at the table, some were standing. There were materials everywhere at the table. The kids were hands-on, talking to each other, problem solving, and that's what we see daily within our STEAM labs at each building. We also this year have been fortunate to have family STEAM nights. We have had 2 already, and this extends our learning to the home. Each event that we have already had has had high attendance with 120 to 150 people attending. We have one more event planned for April, and families have been able to engage in activities. The most recent one was designing a prosthetic hand, which was pretty cool. And the families are also able to take those materials home, and it's just a great way to extend the hands-on learning between the school and home. Finally, I want to highlight the strong programs and structures that we have in place in our schools. Materials for these programs and structures are supplied to fuel these high-quality learning experience for all of our students, and we remain committed to maintaining these programs and structures, as we know these are the things that make River Edge so great. Of course, we would like to grow these programs and structures, but because of a loss of funding, we are unable to add staff at this time. And in closing, I want to say that our budget continues to prioritize what matters most, supporting the programs and resources that help to build bright futures for every student here in River Edge. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moran. So with that being said, we'll kind of start diving into the overview of the district on a more snapshot scale. So the district overview defines the scope and scale of the district and the operation of the budget. The district operates 2 elementary schools, Cherry Hill and Roosevelt. It has staffing roughly about a little over 235 full-time people, part-time, including substitutes. And our enrollment, even though it has decreased, is still a reasonable number at 1156 on-roll students. That includes students we're receiving from other LEAs or other districts. Okay. As far as shared services, one of the areas where this district prides in is trying to reduce cost. And one way of doing that is we maintain efficiency through shared services, such as special education, cooperative purchasing for supplies, competitive energy services, which is our ACES, which we are a part of, interlocal agreements, as well as joint insurance fund to manage these costs. So this budget consists of 3 funds. It's divided in 3 distinct funds. The first fund is the general fund, which is mainly for operations. That's the direct impact to the taxpayer. The special revenue fund is to account for grants, local, federal, and state. And the last fund is debt service, and that's to account for bond payments, typically through a referendum. These are some highlighted areas of focus to point out key areas where it might have potentially increased, decreased from revenues and expenditures. So the overall budget is increasing by approximately a little over $3 million. While we see increases in local taxes and tuition, we are facing a combined decrease in state and federal aid, roughly a little under $300,000. And I'll dive into what the reason is for that. This budget includes maximizing all revenue sources to offset tax levy to support state aid reduction. As far as on the expenditure side, our primary expenditure drivers is a $610,000, roughly a $610,000 increase in special education cost, and a significant $1.46 million rise in employee benefits. That's including mainly due to medical, but it also has, pension contribution, workers' comp, all those other fringe benefits. In addition, there is a need to invest in the maintenance and capital projects based on the age of our buildings and infrastructure, which a few meetings back, we had our architect come in to kind of go over a capital projects plan for, future projection and future planning. This budget includes an increase in these areas of about $970,000, which is being solely funded from district's reserve funds with no tax impact. So that's a testament to this board for making sure that the district is still able to maximize the resources that the district has for future capital projects and maintenance, which doesn't have to go back out to the taxpayer. We are currently conducting a thorough evaluation of all capital needs, which I had indicated, while structuring a financial plan to maximize potential aid and resource allocation for sustainability, which is one of our goals in our strategic plan, which is goal number 5. So now, as far as some statistical information, if you take a look at state aid, so I usually try to provide like a 10-year look back. So this looks at historical trends. As you notice, state aid has fluctuated significantly over the last decade. However, it is trending downward from 2024. The state aid formula, just to put it in perspective, the state reformed the formula a couple of times. The most recent was in 2018, and that's why you might still see an increase, from 2018 to 2023, even though maybe enrollment wasn't increasing in that same way. So the state aid formula was most recently amended in 2018 and phased in over 7 years. Districts receive funding on a per pupil basis, with higher funding levels provided for at-risk students, which is considered low income, English language learners, which is our ELL or LEP, depending on Cerner data, how they report it, and special education students. In addition, the state determines the amount of revenue that should be contributed locally, which is considered the local fair share, based on the community's fiscal capacity, measured by property values. So as everyone has seen, the values in River Edge is healthy, it has been increasing, so that has a negative effect to the state aid, as well as personal income of the community. So the remainder of the revenue, which is called adequacy budget, is funded by the state aid. So for 26-27, just to put it in perspective, as you see in 2024, the main reason for the decrease was because of enrollment in those various categories. So as you see, enrollment pretty much decreased about roughly 3.8 million to a little over 3 million. So the reason for that was the enrollment decrease. But just to put it a little bit highlight, so when the state comes out with the formula, they basically determine what all districts should get in state aid. So for 26-27, which the state has decreased it, but we're still at that $3 million state aid. The amount of aid that the district has determined that we should receive is $1.3 million. So even though we got a decrease of about $95,000, it's still far from where the state is saying the amount of aid that River Edge should be getting from the state. So, we're constantly, myself, Dr. Bernice, we're constantly monitoring it and, utilizing that for future projections and future budgets. So a reduction of about 1.82 million is kind of the total difference. However, the state capped it at 3%, and that's why it only got reduced to that $3,068,000. The next statistical information is student enrollment, which is kind of triggering the state aid reduction. As you see from 2024 to 2027, you see the enrollment's going down. It's kind of in line with why state aid is going down. And like I said, you know, the state aid was reformed in 2018, which was, it took effect fiscal year 2019. However, it was kind of skewed a little bit because of COVID. There was additional funding being provided. So even though we saw a decrease, you know, from, I guess, 2021, our state aid didn't go down those years because we got still that healthy amount because of additional funding that the state was able to provide. But roughly our enrollment has declined from 1230 in 2021 to 1108. The next area is on-roll. So that was resident enrollment. That's what the state aid is calculated on. However, our budget's calculated on-roll, which is typically our resident students, unless we're sending a student out of district, or if we're bringing in a student from another district, that's kind of in this number. It's netted, you know, in this number. As you see here, it's pretty much very similar. The numbers are, you know, vary a little bit because of that, but you'll see it's still, you know, the same decrease from 2024 to 2027. Okay, so in summary, by fund, general fund, the overall budget is about $26.6 million. Special revenues is 1.1 million. Debt service is about 1.4 million. So our total budget is a little over 29 million. So the first part of any budget is you have revenues, you have expenditures. So on the revenue side, these are the areas, the 5 main areas that kind of make up a budget that districts can utilize to kind of offset expenses. As you see here, it's local taxes, state aid, tuition, miscellaneous income, and reserve for withdrawals. Just to kind of acknowledge our special service department, Mr. Jaffe, and all the teachers, we do bring in a decent amount of tuition-based students from other districts, which is an attribute to what Ms. Moran was stating with all the programs and the higher quality of education that River Edge provides. So this is detailed. This is kind of all the different buckets. So as you see here, this is a deep dive into the revenues. General fund shows a 14.1% total revenue increase, which you'll see here. A lot of it is, you know, $1 million of that is that contribution that this district is contributing to capital projects, maintenance projects, to not go to the tax levy, and that's why you'll see it's a withdrawal from those reserves to offset that. The other part is obviously the tax levy. That's a $1.62 million increase. And then the other area, which I kind of have pointed out, is the tuition. That's another healthy increase, which last board meeting, we approved the estimated tuition rates to calculate this number, and then we always true it up once we get to certified rates 2 years later. Okay, so as far as on a percentage scale, as you see here, taxes, it makes up 76%. That's the largest area that all districts can offset expenditures. So as costs are rising, districts are incurring these rising costs, mainly due to health benefits, slightly for utilities. Districts don't have that flexibility that they could, you know, increase sale prices of goods to sell. You know, taxes is the only kind of the large form of generating that revenue to offset expenditures without impeding on education and looking into cuts and all that. Our special revenue fund is the other fund. It continues to support Title I through Title IV programs, as well as IDA grants for students with disabilities. Those grants are federally funded that are passed through the state. So it's determined based on the amount of aid that we get from the federal government. So the reason for the decrease in the special revenue grants was mainly it's a conservative approach where we typically budget 75, roughly around 75% of the current year grant award, just in case, to not cause any, planning for, these large grants, and then all of a sudden, we get less funding. In addition, we also maximize where these grants are being spent, and we're not supplementing the budget, we're not supplanting and removing expenses, and we're relying on these grants. So these grants add to the value of our education. So these are the revenue, the buckets, and what you'll see here is these grants, as they come in, as the grant funding changes, we modify it. So there is flexibility during the course of the school year. So that $1.1 million is based on that anticipated 75% reduction. But as the final grant numbers come out, we are able to modify that and increase revenues, increase expenditures within the year. And then the last fund is the debt service. Debt service fund has remained stable, which I'll go through a kind of an analysis of when we should anticipate some debt to come off as debt relief. But it's pretty much stable, and that's based on the 2 bonds that are still coming due next year and in years in the future. As far as appropriation, these are the buckets, the categories that relate to our appropriations, which range from instruction, support, capital outlay, and debt service. And then under those buckets, you'll see it's more itemized into those programs and functions. So on the general fund side, this is a detailed analysis. While regular instruction spending has remained constant, you'll notice special education through the budget highlights, how I mentioned previously, and related services as well as the benefits are the drivers of this budget and this increase, with the exception of obviously capital outlay. So as you see here, the special education, that $194,000, and then as you go down a little bit more, you get into the tuition costs, that's all special ed. You get into the related services, the $254,000, extraordinary services, child study team, all those categories fall under the special education bucket. And then to put into context, this budget is made up of various categories. Salaries and benefits remain our largest investment, so it kind of amounts to about 82%. Which has decreased, even though health benefits, is kind of increasing. It's increasing consistently with that kind of percentage. So between salaries, health benefits is 82%. So what drives it, when this district is kind of looking at, ways to kind of save money, this is kind of the area where we look at. But at the same time, we want to make sure that students are getting the proper education. We have the proper staff in place, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. On the special revenue side, here's the appropriations, which you'll notice Title I revenue is kind of offset with Title I expenditure. And then the debt service, this is the breakout between that appropriation of that $1.4 million between principal and interest. So now we dive into the maintenance and capital projects and equipment. So the district has completed numerous capital projects and maintenance projects with no impact to the taxpayer. So pretty much all these projects, as you see here, previously budgeted, from the roof replacement to the boilers, as well as the projects that are in this current year budget relating to the gym floor and bleachers at Cherry Hill, to the playground replacement project at Cherry Hill, which is the other playground, to the flooring replacement relating to 6 classrooms between the two schools. This has no impact to the taxpayer. So that's a testament to the board to making sure that we're putting funds away and utilizing it for these capital needs to not go back to the taxpayer. And then just to highlight the Cherry Hill and Roosevelt Elementary Schools, also that was through PTO donations, so thank you to the PTOs. They do a great job, and that also helps with our expenditures and our budget and taxpayer impact. So as far as long-term debt, this is kind of projecting out based on the maturity of the bonds. So you'll notice that the total debt payments are pretty constant, consistent from 2026-27 to 2030-31. And then we have one bond coming off in 31-32, and then that last bond comes off in 31-32. In addition, we have some leases payable. Not a lot. We have our copiers and our postage machines. The reason for these leases is typically they're leased over 5 years. At the end of 5 years, the copiers, it really doesn't pay to own them. So it just pays to lease them. At the end of 5 years, we get a new lease, and then new copies come in, because just the useful life after 5 years is not worth it. So that's pretty consistent. And then at the end of 28, 29, it'll just roll with new models, and we'll restructure if we, have to add copiers or decrease them. And now the kind of the last part, tax overview. And this basically, I'll go into the direct impact of these figures on our residents. So for a home at the average assessed value of about $719,000, the total tax impact of this budget is an increase of about $129 per year. And that's based on the average assessed home for 2026. If your assessed values has fluctuated from the previous year, that tax impact might be a little bit higher. So to put it in perspective, last calendar year, the average assessed home, I think, was about $675,000. So it's roughly would be, so if you're in that ballpark, your assessed value was $675, now it's $718. It's roughly going to be an extra $8 on that $129. If your assessed value went down from the previous year, it might be a bigger savings. All right. Also, just to kind of highlight the government to kind of try to assist with tax relief, they have increased the state and local tax, which is called the SALT deduction. It's starting 2025, so everyone who's doing their taxes, they may benefit. The deduction cap is $40,000, which they increased it from $10,000 the previous year, and that's from 2025 to 2029. So some of the higher taxing communities, it provides some tax relief to reduce your federal tax liability that are resulting in these higher costs that are now being passed on to the local taxpayer. So as far as what's next relating to the budget schedule, so we're at kind of the first part in the tentative budget, which is tonight. The next step is once it gets approved by the board, it gets submitted by me to the DOE through the county office by March 27th. Has to be submitted within 2 days. And then the county has pretty much up until April 20th to review it. They come back if there's any issues, any changes that are needed to be made. This way we could go forward with the public hearing, make sure everything's in compliance with statute on the state side. Public hearings basically April 29th. The advertisement for the budget will go out Friday, April 24th, so that'll go out to the public to review. And then basically the last day, if we did need it, for the public hearing is May 7th. And then all budgets are due to the county by May 19th to get all the taxes, certified to the local towns and boroughs. And then for any further information, advertisement of the budget will be posted in the districts in the record, as well as on the district's website by April 24th. The user-friendly budget comes after the public hearing. So that's 48 hours after the public hearing, which is April 29th, and those are the hyperlinks. And then you could, if anyone has any questions, the board, the community, they could please reach out to the superintendent, Dr. Bernice, as well as myself, and that's our email addresses. So now I'll open it up to the public and the board for any questions.
Any questions, comments?
So what's the,
We don't have your mic.
You, sir, in the audience.
healthcare cost increase was significant. And then I was told by the fellow board member from Promise, they went now for,
I don't know if they need it.
Can
Do
you
you
hear
need
me?
the slides anymore to refer to? No?
No, I don't
Okay.
think we have
so, I mean, first of all, thank you for your work, your hard work. I was told Promise saved $3 million last year, and this year was $1 million and some. Changing the health insurance carrier to, I don't know, private, whatever. Can you look into it? I
Yeah,
don't know,
we-
it's, I
Which,
mean,
which we did. So what we did was, because we knew that, the increase this year was high, it was 30-something percent. Our broker projected out another high increase, 30-something percent, because there's no new information from the state that would otherwise state a reduction. So one of the things that I did was I went to our broker and we shopped our experience rating. So we got our experience rating from the state, we shopped it to private carriers, and there was no, based on our claim loss ratio, there was no desire for any private carriers to submit any proposals. So it wasn't even that they submitted a proposal and we reviewed it. It was I guess, really high where no carriers were comfortable of submitting proposals. The risk was too high. So we are looking at, possibly moving out of the state, which a lot of districts have done. And what's happening is the districts that can move out of the state come out of the state. So the state funding, health benefit fund gets reduced. The more districts in the fund, the better. But what's happening is the districts that are in the fund is districts that can't leave. So it's all these districts that have a high experience, claim loss ratio. So it's driving up these higher increases. But we are shopping, and my predecessor, Ms. Napolitano, she did it previously, because you could only do 2 years for free, and we actually paid this year. So even though it wasn't free, we still wanted to, be proactive and see if there's a way we could reduce health benefit costs.
remind me, how many years did they look back? Is it 5?
2 years.
2 years back?
2 years.
So,
2
yeah.
years, and then they kind of project out based on current data.
Right, but if, for say, our loss ratio improved over the next.
Correct,
couple
we
years,
could maybe
go
leave
back
next
out.
year, yeah.
But yeah, we tried,
We tried, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then there was a report, I think, went to the finance committee.
Yeah, that didn't go out to everybody?
No, I could send it to the full
Oh,
board.
okay, yeah,
if you want.
sorry, I thought that did go out, but yeah, we can forward that.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
So our reduction in state aid is based mostly on student enrollment and housing values, the change in value.
Correct. Correct, and the state utilizes it, they take all those factors, like I said, so they take your resident enrollment, you get more money if your resident enrollment, you're in a more at-risk community, you get more funding for those students. If those students are considered English learners, you get more funding for those students because it's more resources that are needed. So they take all that data, special education students, you get more funding. So they calculate that, then they compare then they do this adequacy based on your community. They take all those figures, they come up with what your aid should be. And the state roughly came like 1.4 million. So even though they gave us 3 million, there's a cap that they kind of added to it, a 3% reduction cap. So that doesn't mean that it's gonna be there, it could increase to 5%, but there's districts on the flip side that are getting a cap and increase, I think it's like 6%, so they're saying we're not getting all our funding. So it's, so that's one thing we're looking at, because, to reduce our state aid by that $1.5 million, like, it's too much for River Edge. So they're doing it slowly, but like, even if our enrollment goes up, the state aid is probably gonna go down because it's capped at 3%. Like,
Yeah, the 3% is doing a lot of heavy
Correct.
lifting there in that. in that
correct, so it's gonna close the gap, but we're gonna still have this large gap
Progressively over time.
Most likely,
progressively over time.
We're still
Unless they
under-
reform the formula.
right.
Yeah,
We're still in the assessment period for the town, so that number still could
Correct.
fluctuate over the
Correct.
next 3.5 years.
and correct, I forgot to point that, I don't know if I put that, the
You
assessment.
included it at the bottom.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was talking to the borough, it's, so like assessed values is slowly gonna start increasing, from my understanding. So like, it's gonna go 7-something to 8-something, but what happens is, it doesn't only increase for the residential, it increases for commercial, all the non-residential, which help with the tax impact. So believe it or not, it actually, even though we're increasing it 8%, over 8%, the actual residential is taking less of a hit.
As
If
a
that makes
rate
sense.
As a rate.
Because now,
not
a lot of
as
it's going to the commercial properties. So, it kind of helps, but not, if your assessed value went up, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Two questions. So I don't know if this is feasible, but is there any way that we can better predict enrollment over the next, after, we have predictions for, well, yeah, even beyond?
Yeah, so I think the plan is to kind of do a demographic study, I think,
Yeah.
with capital projects.
That's my question.
The state, and based on that 2027, that is a projection.
Yeah.
So that's not actual, the state kind of calculates it based on your trend over, they use 6 years, a 6-year trend.
Right, it's just, it's.
Yeah, correct,
It's not an optimistic.
correct. And our budget is,
Downward trend.
correct, correct.
Our demographic study that we had 4 years ago-ish was correct then, because it projected over the subsequent 5 years, it would decrease, yeah.
And I think,
I can't remember when we had that done.
overall enrollment has decreased for I think it's nationally. Like, just birth rate, everything is
Yeah,
decreasing. Districts that are getting more state aid is because they were underfunded.
right.
It's not necessarily because their enrollment's going up. They would just happen to be underfunded prior to the reform.
The second question is regarding the on-roll, so we have these tuition
Yep.
students. Have we looked at the cost, so we get the money from the
Yep.
tuition, but then there's the associated cost to educate them? Have we done like a cost analysis to see if we're?
Yeah, it's required. So what happens is we get audited every year. So we got audited in 24, 25. Then what happens is that those audited figures, and it's by function and program, so we have to allocate it by all these programs, like it's not just one big bucket. So the reason for that is the state takes the enrollment data, they take the expenditures for all these programs, and they allocate all these unallocated stuff, and they come up with certified tuition rates. So what happens is those certified tuition rates is what we should be receiving from these districts. So I utilize those tuition rates to kind of take a conservative approach, and I kind of use those rates and project it out for 26, 27, because if you project out too high, then you have to pay money back to these districts.
So I think I may not have asked clearly. So we get, I don't know, about 20 some odd students? And
We
so
get
those-
about roughly 10
10
students from other districts, and then there's sprinkled maybe 4 parent paid.
So it's like, have we done, to each of those students, they must have an additional cost related to them?
Those specific students?
I don't know.
We really haven't identified those specific students.
Right.
It's pulled as a per pupil cost average. So
Right.
one student might be lower than that average, one might be higher, but the average, we utilize the average.
Just saying if there's a way to determine, like if we get these students, are we losing money on the tuition because the associated cost is really what?
No. And that's the same thing with enrollment. Like if you decrease 10 students, it's spread over, like you still need a teacher, correct. We're actually, if those students, were, so let's say not get sent here, I don't have the exact number, but we would be in a disadvantage. Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Because there's other, there's River Edge residents in that program. There's still going to be a teacher. There might be, 1 or 2 less aides. But you still need to, instead of 4, you could possibly go up to 8, 10 students, add an aide or 2 aides.
Thanks for the
Yeah,
presentation.
yeah,
Very detailed.
yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I I had a question just about the state aid statistics slide. You mentioned that the formula for state aid was last revised in 2018 and phased in over 7 years.
Yep.
So it put it as 2025. What factors trigger like a revision of that formula? And do you anticipate like with the new governor there being any changes, or you think it's just gonna stay?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, the legislation is kind of pushed through all different organizations. I think it was probably pushed by districts saying that, we're improperly getting funded from the, a lot of these districts are in at-risk communities that we're getting underfunded. I don't know, she might potentially, I know she's looking at health benefits, she's looking at kind of reducing cost. So I'm sure, they might take a look in the state aid to kind of see, where that's at. If there's a need, if they feel like it's being, divvied up unfairly, I don't know. But nothing has been discussed. Yeah. The only thing is I know they're pushing for, it's not really here. Even though we're K through 6, you'll see our enrollment still like, 1,200 students. But there are some smaller districts that it's a school district, but there's like 400 students. So I know there's legislation to kind of merge, consolidate when it's too small. But even though we're K to 6, we're probably a size of like a decent K to 8. We have 2 schools, we got almost 1,200 students. So it's not a small K through 6.
Okay, any other questions? No? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything to pass along from the superintendent, any report?
He didn't
No, right.
mention
Okay,
anything
good.
other than the budget.
Anything else from the board secretary?
Nothing else other than the budget, and you'll see on this.
That's it? That's all you got? No.
And you'll see there's a lot of resolutions pertaining to the budget.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
okay. All right. Oh, I don't have anything, and the committees didn't meet, so we don't have any committee stuff either, so we can probably move right on. Next month we will meet. Move on to items to be acted upon. Can I get a motion for item D3, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Can I get a motion for item E1, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on E1.
Can I get a motion for F3, please?
Move to approve F3 as stated.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on F3.
Can I get a motion for G16, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on G16.
Can I get a motion for H7, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on H7.
Can I get a motion for I1, please?
Move to approve items I1 as stated.
Is there a second? Mr. Frias?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on I-1.
Can I have a motion for J5, please?
Move. So moved.
Second?
Any discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on J5.
Thank you. Is there any new business anyone wishes to introduce?
So I have a question. We just approved the calendar starting June 23rd. Does that mean that school is going to end the Friday before? Because the extended school year is June 23rd.
The 23rd is the,
23rd is a Tuesday, school's ending Monday, the 22nd.
oh, is it the 22nd? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so this is just revising because it was going to start on that Monday, right? So
They
this
had
is
to
just,
bump everything out
it
one
just has to
day.
get bumped one day.
So is there a way that we can, there's no way we can edit the calendar?
I don't
To end
believe so.
that Friday?
The final,
We tried, we tried. The Tuesday in June, the June voting in the school really is what ultimately
Yeah.
pushed it to that extra day.
the final revised school calendar, I think, has to get voted on at the April meeting. Am I right about that?
I believe so.
Okay.
Can
all
we
right.
make that voting day like a half day or
Probably
a
not.
field day or something where we have the kids play outside so that way we can make sure the year ends on the day we wanted it to end in the first place?
I mean, I can,
I
we
think
can
we
bring
had,
it up.
I had
Probably
a
not.
conversation with, Eric and Dr. Ruiz about the calendar, and that was the only available days left. The decision about June 2nd is something that we've been discussing.
Well, because if we make it a half day, then we don't have to worry about lunch.
As far
correct?
as far as I understand, I
It's-
think it
isn't it an
is,
election
it's
day?
a safety, it's the election,
Yeah, yeah.
special
The
election.
election, but historically, we never have students
It's
on
a-
campus,
yes.
in school grounds when there's public.
Well, I mean,
Or outside.
technically, they're going to be in the gym, correct? So the rest of
Yeah.
the school,
Students, we don't have any students
don't
in
have for
public.
I understand what
Yeah.
we've done
I think it's in the
traditionally.
multi-purpose.
What I'm saying is, if they're only going to be, if the voters are only confined to the gym, then the rest of the building is safe, right? And it's fine because that's what we've always done. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
You can say, they're confined, but someone goes to the bathroom, someone opens the door, someone lets somebody
Yeah, I
in.
know.
The front doors
Students,
are
somebody goes around the back way, a student comes into the gym.
I think that's probably, you have to discuss also with Dr. Breeze, he did give.
Plus, I mean, students are outside recess, and there's a lot of,
So if it's important to Mr. Frias. Yes, I say let's discuss it at the next opportunity when the superintendent's here.
but it's not important to me per se. It's
Well, no, I
important to
mean,
some
to the
of
community.
some of the
Sorry.
community members that have
Yeah.
reached out about it because some people already had plans for
Yeah.
that Monday to leave on vacation, but now the walkout is going to happen, and they don't want their kids to miss out on that. So
Oh, yeah.
that the clap out.
The clap out. Yeah, I do, Dr. Bernice is away. I do have a scheduled call with him when he gets back, so I'll put that on the list
Thank
to
you.
discuss.
Appreciate it.
And I do always encourage people to reach out to him and email him directly when they have questions about the calendar and such.
And copy the board.
Well, I mean, we
Yes.
did change the beginning of the school year because we added that holiday as well.
Yep.
And I know that made a change. So,
Yeah. Yep.
thank you.
The snow is unpredictable.
And the snow.
The snow is unpredictable. All right. Seeing as how there aren't any comments, I don't think. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
We'll be back on April, I don't have it in front of me. What's the date?
29.
April
29.
29th. Thank you. See you then.